This is the AWE 0FG single exhaust system with the black tips, available for your 2015 through 2025 liter powered F-150. Now you should be checking out the 0FG system here from AWE if you are looking for one of the loudest systems available for your Coyote powered rig that is also packing an extremely nice American-made 304 grade stainless build, all exiting in the factory location thanks to the large 4.5-inch black diamond tips. Now the system will combine 3-inch mandrel bent tubing throughout, along with the drone canceling 180 tech, and can be had all for right around that $1,100 to $1,200 price point. But let's get into the important stuff first here, and that is the sound you can expect with the AWE bolted up to your F-150. And listen, if you caught the sound clips at the very start of this video, then you know where this is going, right? 0FG, which stands for zero, you know what's given, is an absolute screamer. There's really no other way to describe it. A little bit of rasp, but not much here, and a whole bunch of volume is what you should expect out of this premium system. So breaking out my wake the neighbor scale, I'm gonna go soft 5 out of 5 here, guys, on my 1 to 5 or 1 to wake the neighbor scale. Now, I don't hand out 5 out of 5s easily, but having installed this on my personal F-150 for a little while, it's an absolute no-brainer, as cold starts with this system in place on my Whippled Power ride were absolutely mental. But on the other hand, because this system is packing AWE's patented 180 technology, the interior noise or drone on the highway is surprisingly quiet from such a gnarly system. And that is one of the things I enjoy most about the AWE stuff. Getting into the construction block here, and right out of the box, you'll notice the 0FG does utilize quality US sourced 304 grade stainless throughout. That does include the 3-inch mandrel bent tubing, of course, here, in addition to that 0FG muffler, which is responsible for all of that sound. Now, this muffler does carry that 180 tech that we mentioned in our previous block, and that will be helpful at keeping drone to an absolute minimum as well. Now, moving through the system a little bit more here, again, this particular option does exit in the factory location behind that passenger side rear tire out of the dual 4.5-inch diamond black tips. Really sharp stuff etched with the AWE logo. Now, this system does include all of the clamps needed for the job, and yes, the signature AWE blow pop, which is a nice little treat to help get you through that install. Now, because AWE does utilize some very, very nice materials throughout, they are gonna back this system with their limited lifetime warranty. Now, price point for the 0FG catback will live in the $1,100 range, give or take a bit here, which does put this in line with other premium systems on the site for your 5-liter truck, including systems from Roush and Corsa, just to name a few. And I will say that's pretty standard for a high-quality system that typically utilizes 304 grade stainless, as is the case here. All right, last but not least, let's talk about the install. And the AWE will bolt onto your 5-liter powered rig without any cutting or modification. And AWE also likes to give you their no check engine light guarantee. That's always nice to hear, right? And when it comes to difficulty, well, pretty straightforward stuff. Site's gonna call it a solid 1 out of 3 wrenches on the difficulty meter, taking you about 2 hours or so to complete from start to finish. But now to give you a better idea of how this one might go down on your F-150 at home, let's throw it out to the shop for our detailed walkthrough and tool breakdown.
For this install, you will need various impacts, a ratchet, 10, 13, and 15 millimeter sockets, a hanger removal tool, a dead blow mallet, and also not shown here is an extra set of hands to help you with your exhaust. All right, today we're going to be doing an exhaust on our F-150, but before we get started, we're going to send you to watch a quick video on how to remove your factory exhaust, and we'll see you when you get back.
So first step here for our install, we're going to grab our 13 millimeter socket on the U-joint. We're going to loosen up the flange up near our catalytic converters, and that will basically let our exhaust sit in the exhaust hanger isolator. So at that point, all we're going to do is lubricate them, slide the whole thing back, and since we're on a lift, we'll be able to pull the whole exhaust out in one piece. Now, if you are working on the ground, you won't have as much room as I do. You might have to make a couple cuts to get this out, but it's just as simple as that. So this one is a little bit tough to get to. But it should come right out. And same thing goes with this one. The U-joint here is almost a must if you want to use the impact. If you're using a ratchet, it should clear no problem. So now our exhaust is loose at the front. We just need to lubricate these rubber hanger isolators so we can slide our exhaust back and out. For that, I'm gonna use PB Blaster here. You can use white lithium grease. As you can see, this one has had on it before. So we're just gonna give this a shot here on both sides. So now we can take our exhaust hanger removal tool and we're just gonna work that out. So now we have two more hangers supporting our exhaust, and all we're gonna do for this one right above our muffler is grease it up. For now, you can see it doesn't have that barb at the end, so we're gonna leave this in just to support our exhaust. We're gonna grease up the other one, and then we can slide this whole thing back. So this last one here, right on our tailpipe, again, we're just gonna hit it with some PB Blaster. And again, this doesn't have the barb on it either. So now we should be good to push this whole exhaust back and pull it off of our truck.
All right, so for this system, we're gonna be reusing our factory resonated section, so we'll need to take that off from the rest of our exhaust. Now this is held in by one clamp with a 15mm nut on it. So we're gonna grab our 15mm socket and a dead blow hammer, and we're gonna get this loose and get this off. All right, so now we'll loosen up our 15mm nut. Want that to be plenty loose so your clamp has room to loosen up. We're gonna take our dead blow mallet and smack our resonator lightly and separate our resonated section. So now we're gonna grab our factory isolator and hangers off of our factory system so we can reuse those. So I've got a hanger removal tool. Let's pop these off. This tail one is a little stubborn sometimes. Best to give a little shimmy. Then we'll remove our muffler one as well. All right, so now we can begin installing our new setup. We're gonna start by reinstalling our factory resonated section. So we'll get it up over our cross member and get it lined up with our 2-bolt flange and reinstall our 2 factory 13mm bolts just loosely for now. We're not going to tighten them fully just yet. We've got our resonated section. Get that lined up with our flange. Get our 2 bolts back in. All right, so now that we have our factory resonator section back in, the next thing we're gonna do is install our provided adapter. This is gonna go into your factory slip joint on your resonator. We'll get this in, we'll clamp this down because it's just a straight piece that's gonna step us up to the exhaust size for our new setup. So we'll get this in, make sure that fully seats, and we'll grab our 15mm socket and tighten this down. All right, so now we'll come in with our 15mm socket, tighten this down. Snug. All right, so next we're gonna install our mid-pipe and muffler section. The first thing we're gonna do is grab one of our provided 3-inch clamps and get that over our slip joint. It's gonna go to our adapter. We'll slide that over just so that's on. What we're also gonna do is take our factory cross member hanger isolator and get that onto our new hanger rod. Now you do wanna make sure this is facing the right way. Then we'll get this up in position, line our hanger up with our factory isolator and get our other one bolted in as well. All right, so now we'll get this over our axle, get our slip joint and our hanger lined up. Get that side fully seated. Then we're also gonna get our cross member hanger in place. So now we'll get our locator tab in, hold this up, and get our 10mm bolt started. Then we'll come in with our 10mm socket and tighten that down. All right, so next we're gonna get the rest of our over axle and tail section in place. So we're gonna grab our rear isolator and get that onto our new hanger rod. And you wanna make sure this is gonna be facing the inside of the frame rail as it mounts from factory. And we're also gonna get another one of our provided 3-inch clamps over our slip joint. And we'll get this in place on our mid-pipe / over axle. All right, so we'll get this lined up with our slip joint. Get that fully seated. We'll get our bottom 10 mil loosely in. And we'll come back with our 10 mil socket, tighten that down. All right, so now we'll grab our 10 mil socket and tighten this bottom bolt down. Now when doing this at home, you should definitely install the inner frame rail 10 mil. Ours is no longer with us due to many previous installs. Next, we'll install our Y-pipe for our tips. So we've got another 3-inch clamp. Get that over our slip joint. Sometimes these are a little stubborn. Get that on. Get this fully seated. Next, we're going to install our tips. Now these are slash cut. You want your slash to be pointing towards the rear of the vehicle and your logo to be facing up. We'll get our clamp over our slip joint, get our tip onto our outlet. Line that up. We'll grab our 15 mil socket and tighten down our clamp. Then we'll do the same thing for the other tip, then we'll come back and tighten everything else down. Now we'll tighten down our clamp for our Y-pipe. You want these clamps to be sitting flush with the end of your slip joint. That's how you get the best seal. Now we'll tighten down our over axle clamp. Once you get this snug, you may need to move it back into position. Next, we can tighten down our clamp for our adapter. And this one's already tight, so now we'll tighten down our two 13mm bolts for our flange. Now we'll grab our 13 mil socket and tighten down our two flange bolts. Alrighty, that about wraps up our review and install of our AWE 0FG single exhaust system with diamond black tips and side exit for your 15 to 25 liter F-150. Thanks for watching, and as always, for everything F-150, keep it right here at AmericanTrucks.com.